Hello, Maverick traders. Welcome out to your currency recap. It's June 24th. We're going to take you through meaningful news. We're going to talk about why markets are rallying today on a news when bombs have been going off. I think it can make some sense, and we'll always talk about great setups.
All trades and analysis in this video are intended for professional traders only. This content does not constitute financial advice and is for educational purposes. This video is being released after a short delay due to Compliance Department review. Maverick members receive this content immediately as part of their daily trading resources. If you're ready to level up, consider joining Maverick Currencies. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits. You bring the skill, we provide the backing. Let's get into today's market recap and see how the pros are trading the currency markets.
All right, so let's take a look at markets. It was really a risk-on day. The ceasefire is now in effect. Both Israel and Iran are already claiming violations on the other side of the ceasefire. Oil had spiked all the way up to 77, and now it's plummeting. Why is oil spiking lower? Why is gold surging to the downside? Well, I think it makes sense if you really understand that news is just news. Too many people try and label it good or bad. I love the parable of the Chinese farmer. The Chinese farmer has a son, he has a horse. His horse runs away. The people of the village come and they say, "We're so sorry you've lost your horse. That's horrible news." The Chinese farmer's quite wise and he says, "I don't know if it's good news or bad news. We'll find out." The horse returns the next day with another horse. Now he has two. The people from the village cheer, "Oh, what great news." And he says, "Well, I don't know if it's good or bad. We'll find out over time." The son tries to break in the new horse, falls off, breaks his back. Oh, the people from the village say it's such horrible news. The Chinese farmer, quite wise, he understands that it's not always as things appear. The next day, war breaks out. His son would have gone to the front lines. The leader of the army comes to get him. He can't go. He's got a broken back. It probably saves his life. The point is that everything you thought was good news is actually bad. Everything you thought was bad news is actually good. And that's so often how it works in the markets. That's where the old adage, buy the rumor, sell the news, comes from. A lot of times what you think is good or bad news is just not that way. One could argue that there's now more stability in that region, not less, because of what has transpired. So it's not always as it seems on the surface. And that's where price action, trusting more of what you see and less of your opinion is vital. Japanese yen higher, US dollar lower, Swiss franc higher, pound higher. I don't know that I'd take a lot from just today's price action in currency land, but certainly as you go to other markets, S&P, these risk-on markets strongly higher, gold and oil, which are safe haven, defensive. If you looked inside of the stock market, you'd see defensive stocks like the ones that provide tanks and machine guns and jets and planes and all these things for war. They were all sharply lower. So the market is arguing there's now more stability, not less. Whether that's right or wrong, that's what the market's saying. And there is wisdom in price action. A little bit of a mixed bag in crypto land. So let's take a look at the market. Why is the market rallying sharply higher today? We're only this far away from the all-time highs. Certainly seems like we're going to try and push and maybe get to that point. So the question again is perhaps why are we so strong? Well, there's a lot of differences of opinion, but maybe, just maybe, there's less threat of nuclear war now that this has transpired. Maybe that's true. Maybe Iran following its similar path to what it did last time. Remember last time there was a conflict, Iran bombed something, made sure that there were no U.S. soldiers, even kind of warned the U.S. ahead of time, made sure they didn't kill any American citizens. They did the same thing here. Yeah, they retaliated, but they made sure it was very safe. So the idea is that actually there's more stability, there's less threat of nuclear war and so forth. Now, I'm not arguing that anyone made right or wrong decisions. War is an ugly, ugly thing. But the price action of the markets and that's our job, is to basically be in alignment with trends, with momentum, with opportunities to profit. We've passed now this area of the markets. We still have a bit more to get to. Actually, we've passed here. Fed Chair Powell spoke today. He will speak again tomorrow. We get final GDP numbers on Thursday, and then we get core PCE, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, on Friday. There's not a lot there really economically to move markets. And as we look at price action in currencies, you'd say really only the British pound on the upside and the Canadian dollar on the downside are the plays. Now, the Canadian dollar certainly sympathetic to oil prices, and it reacted today. So maybe the trade is long pound, short CAD. Crypto also primarily not a lot of velocity. As we look at these charts, these are really the only two that I can argue have some real momentum here. Look at the British pound. It looks better, right, than most. It has broken out to new highs. It's on a buy signal, upward sloping moving averages, climbing RSIs, new highs out of a little basing pattern. British pound looks good on the upside. On the downside, the CAD has broken lower, is on a sell signal, has all the proper momentum and slope and trend and things that we like to see. So pound long, CAD short. There's not a lot of momentum and trend and velocity in a lot of these other segments of the market. The obvious, I don't want you to get caught in that obvious, oh, this is good or bad news. It's not always as it seems. That we can't label it that way because it's not that simple. Play relative strength, play relative weakness, and the momentum and the trends and the intelligence of the market. Look, there's literally billions and billions of dollars on the line. The market participants want to be aligned the right way. And a lot of times being aligned the right way is very counterintuitive to what you think good or bad news should be. And that's just reality. And that's the reality we live in. So we want to be aligned with the market, not be aligned with the obvious quote unquote good or bad news. Hope you enjoyed today's currency recap. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.